Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. Prince Albert police have charged a man in connection with a homicide that happened in the summer. The body of 39-year-old Wayne Keller was found in the 1500 block of 5th Avenue East on July 29th. On Monday, 26-year-old William Hunt Charles was arrested at the Prince Albert Correctional Center where he was in custody on unrelated charges. Hunt Charles is now charged with second-degree murder in Keller's death. He's also charged with possessing a firearm while prohibited and possessing ammunition while prohibited. Police do not expect to charge anyone else in the case. A man at the center of a homicide investigation made his first court appearance this morning. 30-year-old Gage Almer Buler is charged with first-degree murder, aggravated assault, and kidnapping in the death of 31-year-old Chad Romanski. The arrest comes about 5 months after Romanski's remains were found near Highway 7 back in June. Inside the courtroom, Almer Buler stood behind the glass of the prisoner's box and nodded as the judge went over the charges. The judge also read out a list of 14 people he's ordered not to contact. An investigator says police used some out-of-the-box techniques to move the case forward.
What I can say is that this was a very complex investigation. Any creativity of the minds of my colleagues, our service supported 100%, and I'm proud of the work that was done.
Almer Buler said he plans on hiring his own lawyer. He's scheduled to be back in court on Tuesday. A Saskatoon homicide case has taken a new turn. Nikita Tutusis, one of 8 people accused in the death of Tim Tutusis, is now facing first-degree murder. She was originally charged with manslaughter. Tim Tutusis was found dead on December 18th of last year. Police discovered his body while executing a search warrant at a home in the 1700 block of 22nd Street West. A boy charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder related to a quadruple homicide on Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation made a virtual court appearance on Wednesday. His identity can't be revealed under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. Darius Reset is also facing first-degree murder charges in the deaths of 4 people at a home on Carry the Kettle in February. The boy's next provincial court date is December 11th. The Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation says it has received dozens of complaints about unethical hunting in recent weeks, and a warning some viewers may find the following images disturbing. Sask Tips shared these photos on social media, saying conservation officers found a couple of elk had been shot and abandoned in the Spiritwood area. The Wildlife Federation says during the recent antlerless elk hunt, it received several complaints per day about animals being shot and abandoned. The executive director says some hunters may not have been familiar with the regulations, but calls the situation unacceptable both legally and ethically.
It's a waste of our resources. The resources in the province belong to all the citizens of the province. So not only potentially for recruitment later on for future wildlife populations, but also the meat and the resource going to waste is a large concern for us.
In a statement to CTV News, the province says it added the antlerless elk hunt to address property and crop damage caused by high elk numbers. Now that the hunt is over, it says hunter harvest surveys will be used to assess harvest levels and landowner access and will inform future wildlife management plans. The parents of complex needs children are calling for action as their children have been placed on modified school schedules. Erin Gerwings shared that her son, who has autism, is only going to school half the time. This is because the educational assistance and additional resources, which were once available, are no longer active in schools. Gerwings says her family has had to make significant adjustments to accommodate the lack of resources in schools.
Right now I'm not working. Many families are finding it impossible to have full-time jobs because somebody has to be on constant call. Somebody has to be able to go to the school on a moment's notice. It affects families a lot.
CTV has reached out to the province for comment. Well, Jeff, maybe a week ago now we were talking about snowball making snow or snowman making snow. I don't think that's what we've got on the ground right now.
Nah, the stuff we got right now is pretty crunchy and fluffy and light, and really, the crunchy part is the old stuff that melted a little bit, and then it froze up again. But we're keeping our eye on a little pocket of snow that's coming in from Alberta tonight, John. It's basically going to cross probably near the Prince Albert, Saskatoon area, and then slide eventually into Manitoba. But we're not anticipating a lot of snow, but there's still snow in the forecast for tonight, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on.
Fire departments that battled the unprecedented summer wildfires have received special recognition at the Legislative Building. Today, close to 50 fire departments from across Saskatchewan and Manitoba were awarded the Premier's Commendation. Wayne Mantika reports.
Hundreds of firefighters from across Saskatchewan and parts of Manitoba answered the call to protect lives and property as wildfires rage through Saskatchewan's north. Many say they have never experienced anything like it.
It was a little more intense than we had seen. We don't have that kind of forest around home, so it was definitely a little different, but definitely an experience, to say the least.
Nearly 50 fire departments that took part in the forest fire effort were awarded the Premier's Commendation at the Legislature.
To recognize people that had stepped up in the face of adversity, danger, stepped up with great courage to help other Saskatchewan residents.
Many of the fire departments recognized are comprised of volunteers who were dispatched to where help was needed most.
We were initially actually dispatched to Pelican Narrows, and when we arrived, we were redirected to the town of Creighton. At that time, Denary Beach was actually on fire.
The firefighters appreciated the recognition.
It's fantastic. It's so nice to see the Premier come and really talk about everything that happened, and to thank everybody individually on behalf of their fire department for helping. And I mean, you can't ask for anything better.
The NDP believe the government must be better prepared for future fire seasons. It has introduced legislation calling for a strategy to avoid wildfires. The government says a strategy already exists. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Prince Albert National Park is open for its 10th annual Christmas tree harvest. It started at the end of November, so visitors with a valid park pass will have until December 23rd to harvest a Christmas tree from 4 designated areas of the community fuel break surrounding Waskesiu. The park says around 160 visitors participated last year. The park says the harvest helps reduce the number of flammable trees, slowing the speed of potential wildfires that may come in the area come wildfire season.
By removing these coniferous trees, these spruce, these pines, these firs, it creates a bit of a green belt.
Visitors will need to pick up Christmas tree activity passes and a map at the visitor center before chopping down their tree. When we come back, you can save some time and get your real Christmas tree in town. Jasmine Pelche finds out about the options and their different benefits from Godet trees. For Prince Albert residents who might want a natural Christmas tree but can't make it out to the national park to cut one down, Jasmine Pelche finds out where you can get one and what to look for.
And how many years have you been operating this lot?
Since the last century, so like a long time.
And how long have you been in the co-op parking lot here?
I think this must be year 6. Yeah, I was on another corner, and for like, I don't know, more than 10 years. And before that, I was over here for about 10 years, and I was someplace else before.
Where do all of the trees come from?
Well, they either come from my plantation or else I have, at one point in time, in the greater part of my wholesale, which was like stretched to like this side of Winnipeg, north-south, all the way up into way beyond Fort St. John, like Yellowknife and Whitehorse. And so I had 16 suppliers, and some for all the Kootenays, and I had some white pine that would come in from the U.S. and the Maritimes, and really I focused in just where the best place was now is Quebec. So Quebec, I still have a supplier, multi-generation now, since the last century, and that's who supplies me with my Fraser fir.
And what sort of trees do we have here? Like, what's the variety?
Well, I have green varieties. They're either dark green on top and blue underneath, which would imply Fraser fir. And that's the tree that lasts the longest. If you feel the foliage, it's actually, the needles are curled up kind of like a brush and feel like rubber kind of. And the branches are a little more upright. And you can put that tree up in November and take it down Valentine's Day, like by and large. Not all, but by and large, like more than 2 months, and they don't drop needles. Balsam fir, on the other hand, which is all this side of the lot, is a tree that smells like Christmas. The needles tinkle off, and you're good for 30 days. And it's people that come in early, they go Fraser, and people that come anytime, but later they all switch over to balsam fir. And balsam fir, instead of dark blue on top and blue underneath, they're green and green. All good. And all the needles are soft, and I'm supposed to have some Colorado spruce on the lot. They're not here yet, and that is like real hard needle, and Colorado comes either shades of green all the way into intense blue, hard needles and sharp on the end. They're like make you bleed if you touch your cheek with it, but they're cat proof. And so people ask, do you have trees that will keep my pets out of them? So I have Colorado spruce for that too. Anyways, it's and the heights. Of course, you're going to ask me what kind of trees. So
I was.
So I have little shrimpy ones like down about here, and maybe some lower, and well, right there is like 14-footers, and over here there's 15 plus, and on my farm I still have a couple of 22s, and the biggest tree we harvested this year went to Saskatoon to Ronald McDonald House, and 27 feet. And we put one on the legislature every year. They're very particular. It's so high, it has to be limbed like this, and the trunk can only be so much. And it got stuck in our baler. We had to pull it through with a truck after that. Oh, my God. It was like, but we did it, and it's all smiles. Like, people are happy here.
What is the last day that you're open here?
When I sell out.
So when is that typically?
Well, like, it's completely unpredictable. Last year, I took some trees home. I don't know why, but I did. And 3 years ago, we were sold out in a little more than 2 weeks, which was like unbelievable. Usually, I sell out around the 17th. But by the time we're after the 10th of January, like, all the big stuff is gone. That's for sure. And then we're left with the average size, and I try to have everything for everybody. Yeah, about the 17th is getting near the end. Things are fading, if I can use that term, and from a business perspective, and it's to be expected. And if I sell out on the 17th, I get a break until Christmas. Otherwise, it's been like 100-day shifts and 300-hour months, and I don't know. I like what I do, and the people that help me like what I do, and they like me, and I like them. And some have worked for me like 40 years ago, and they come back and help me. That guy was 80. I have another guy that helps me. He's in his 50s. He helped me like 30 years ago.
But you're clearly very passionate about what you're doing here, for sure. So thanks for having me out and sharing some information about the trees and how the whole operation works.
Yeah, thank you as well. Merry Christmas.
Jeff has your weather coming up after the break. Plus, some Hollywood stars come together for a brain health conference in Toronto. All right, Jeff, yesterday you hinted at maybe a little bit of a reprieve from the cold on the horizon. Is that still in the cards for us?
It's totally still in the cards. We have a mild Thursday in store. But before we get to that, John, we are going to be talking about some flurries, maybe 2 to 4 centimeters for Prince Albert and Saskatoon and other points in the province as a little something slides on through. And we'll talk about that just in a moment. So yes, we're expecting this system sort of basically to come out of northern Alberta and sort of slash its way towards, say, the Flin Flon, the Paw. But, you know, on the edge edge of that system, we do anticipate some flurries for parts of central Saskatchewan and the gateway to the north there. I just wanted to point out on either coast, if your travel plans taking out to BC, the moisture sort of returns to southern British Columbia starting tomorrow and into Friday. It looks like it's going to be a rainy weekend for Vancouver and Monday as well. And then that nor'easter I was talking about yesterday, that is impacting parts of the American Northeast and then into Atlantic Canada. They're hunkering down because it looks like it's going to be a nasty storm. So rain, wind, snow pellets or ice pellets and strong winds. So across the prairies, relatively quiet. And as we were mentioning, really warming up tomorrow in some parts. So here's our future cast. As you can see, there's that pocket of snow sliding through, but it looks like it's out of here by the time we roll into tomorrow early in the morning. There you go. Before noon, it's already out of the province. Maybe a little something showing up in the northwest later on in the day. Minus 14 for Spiritwood overnight, minus 12 for the Battlefords, minus 19 in Candle Lake and Nipwood, minus 18 in Birch Hills and Melfort, minus 16 in Roster. And in most places in this part of our region, dealing with a little bit of snow as we roll into the evening hours and into tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, yeah, I know. Minus 2 for Spiritwood, cloudy and 0, maybe even a little melty out there. So you might want to top up your windshield wiper fluid. It could be messy on the roads in the Battlefords. Minus 6 in Candle Lake, minus 4 in Birch Hills, minus 3 in Rostern, and minus 7 under cloudy skies in Nipwood, and minus 5 in Melfort. Yep, these temperatures are way above seasonal, and they ain't going to be sticking around, so enjoy tomorrow. Minus 17 with 2 to 4 centimeters of snow expected in the Prince Albert area. Winds out of the southwest at 15. Tomorrow, minus 4 degrees, so about 5 degrees above seasonal, mainly cloudy skies. The winds shift around a little bit, but they're not particularly strong winds. And then as we take a look at Saturday, Friday, temperatures drop off to minus 12. And then Saturday, mainly sunny and ouch, minus 22. So look at that, an 18-degree difference between Thursday and Saturday. Sunday, we've got ourselves minus 16 degrees. Monday, minus 12, minus 10 on Tuesday. Both days, a slight chance of flurries. And 1 week from today, minus 16 degrees with mainly cloudy skies. So that's how the 7 days are shaping up. So enjoy tomorrow.
Not digging those wild swings. I like more just a natural swing, like you go from baseball season and finish off football season. And then something we haven't talked about in a long time, and it's going to be the subject of classic sports, is basketball.
The year was 2010, and Saskatchewan is capturing attention on the hardwood. The University of Saskatchewan Huskies men's basketball team made it to the U Sports Final 8 tournament and put on a clinic. A roster with the likes of Michael Linklater and Sharon Glover led the Huskies past the Windsor Lancers, and then they downed the powerful Carleton Ravens in the semifinal. They reached the championship game against UBC, who had only lost 1 game during the regular season. The Huskies were up by 4 after the first quarter and would dominate from there, with Troy Gottslig notching 22 points and Linklater adding 20 as the Huskies went on to win 91-81. Saskatchewan was on top of the college basketball world, the U of S Huskies becoming the first and so far only Saskatchewan college men's team to ever become national basketball champions. And if you want to check out more classic sports moments from the days of Wilco and wood-finished televisions, you can check them out on our website.
Do you have a community event you would like to promote? Or maybe you'd like to draw attention to your organization. Let your local CTV station help you spread the word. Contact us at 306-922-6020 or email panews@ctv.ca. You can appear on CTV Prince Albert's News at 5 and get your message to our viewers.
Some Hollywood stars were in Toronto recently to promote a brain health conference, including the spouse of Bruce Willis, once the biggest action star who now requires constant care. Pauline Chan reports.
Bruce Willis's family announced the actor had frontotemporal dementia in 2023, just months after he developed aphasia and retired from acting. And at the Women's Brain Health Summit, his wife Emma Hemming Willis spoke of their experiences.
I think he's doing really well with a very unkind disease. You know, he's surrounded by love and support, and he's doing well today. I was carrying a lot of grief and anger and resentment and all the things that caregivers experience but don't always talk about. But I realized for myself that it was important I didn't want that just to be the only note. So I made the choice that I wasn't going to allow Bruce's disease to take our whole family.
And as Hemming Willis has become an experienced caregiver, she has also become an advocate for supporting caregivers in general.
For many caregivers, including myself, just how isolating it can be. So I think it's really important that we keep talking about caregiving, being able to, raise awareness, shine a light, a big spotlight on caregivers so that they get the support that's needed for them.
Organizer Lynn Poslin says this is the 7th annual Women's Brain Health Day.
Almost 70% of Alzheimer's sufferers are women, but research has historically focused on men. So we wanted to make sure that we raised awareness and funds to level that research playing field, but also educate the public about what they can do to protect their cognitive vitality.
Going forward, we're hopefully going to see this as part of physical exams as we age, that maybe you'll get your amyloid and tau levels checked to see if you are at risk for developing Alzheimer's.
Lisa Genova says this is a key point in the battle against dementia as the first disease-modifying drugs become available. But diagnosis is the first step. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Brought to you by Saskatchewan Union of Nurses. Thank you to Saskatchewan's 11,000 registered nurses.
All right, Jeff, police in Virginia were called to a liquor store after somebody broke in, drank a large amount of booze, and then passed out. The suspect, a very intoxicated raccoon. When police arrived at the liquor store, they found that raccoon asleep in the bathroom. It appears the animal had broken into the store, ransacked a few shelves, and after sampling the products, went on to the bathroom before passing out. The officer took the drunk raccoon to an animal shelter to sober up, and then it was released back into the wild, but probably a little hungover, and I'd say so, Jeff, a pretty good story.
I think so. The other raccoons are going, what? You're making that up. But I got to say, interesting that even a raccoon realizes, I got to get to the bathroom.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Sometimes you got to know when to say when, and you just got to find yourself a bathroom and take your time. And
exactly. Just, cling to the porcelain god.
I was just going to say, you got to grab onto something, kind of get rid of the spins, I guess. But for sure, that would be a good story. I think I would huddle around the fire and listen to Mr. Raccoon tell the story.
It's better than I cleaned out a garbage can. That's not
exactly.
Fun.
Yeah, leftovers versus a nice crisp bottle of...